And this is talk a little bit about, hey, what's coming up with this upcoming what's coming with the upcoming election. November 7th is coming, and a lot of people aren't even talking about what's going on in that race, in those races, and want to sort through some of the negative ads and things that are happening tonight, that are going on right now. So if you all want to call in, the number is 270-945 3418. Give us a call, and we'll be glad to put you through and have a conversation with you. In the meantime, sit back, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up. So what's the first thing is that we want to talk about is we have this is election season, and unfortunately a lot of people don't even recognize this as election season yet. You don't see a lot of signs out and a lot of things, and a lot of that has to do with campaigns have very specific, each campaign comes up with its own plan and its own methodology. And Daniel Cameron's campaign has been, focused on getting out and visiting with as many people as possible, hitting doors, hitting events throughout the state. And so, and there's not a lot, he's been to Meade County, I think 4 times. We're trying to get him back for a 5th sometime between now and the election. And I think he will. I think he'll come and visit us. And he, Daniel's pretty much a local guy, and he spends a lot of time in this region. His family's from Hardin County. It's where he grew up. He went to John Hardin. Played football against Meade County, and he's a well-liked and well-loved person here in the county, and we're going to be very happy with him as our governor. But it takes us getting out and voting for him, so we can't just sit back and wait and say, hey. And I know it's a lot of people are frustrated that we don't necessarily see a lot of signs, a lot of people, but there are people out knocking on doors. There are people who are making phone calls. There are people who, who are working behind the scenes to put out mailers and things like that. And you're going to see that, fortunately or unfortunately, you're going to see that ramp up. Now here we are halfway through September, and we have, the election is just basically 6-7 weeks away, and so we're really trying to promote right now. Once you've made up your mind, when you've decided to go ahead and go vote. Go ahead and don't be afraid to go ahead and go vote early. I know a lot of us are traditionalists, and we like to say, hey, election day is election day. We go vote on election day. But I think it's important that, once you've made up your mind, just go ahead, and take advantage of the season of voting now. I was a big, I was not a big proponent of early voting early on, but now, looking at where we stand and what's occurred, and we need to embrace the rules as they stand, and we need to start working towards that. It does help us, if you need help getting to the polls, things like that. It allows us to have a smaller group working harder to get more people to the polls. So if that is something that, if you need help getting to the polls, give us a call. Our number, again, is 270-945-3418. We would love to, we would be glad to write your name down, get an address. We'll get somebody to either, drive you if you need, if you have any questions about the ballots, things like that. Or if you see something that, when you go to vote, if you see something that is, that you have questions about, give us a call. We'd love to either help you answer the question, or note that there might be some irregularities out there. But I will tell you this: I think that our elections here in Kentucky are done very well. I think that especially out here in the rural areas, I think that you can trust most of the people in the county clerk's offices. Meade County, I believe that we've had very good, strong elections here. They do everything by the book. They call you, if there's a question, both parties are invited. to review, to oversee it. The election, the local election board is very well engaged and well represented for both parties. The sheriff is active, as well as the county clerk and the others. So I think that it's important that we give credit where credit's due. I think that Meade County has done a really good job for many, many years. We go back and look at election where Butch Carrig won election as the sheriff here, and he won by one vote on his first term. They did a recanvass and everything by the book, but one vote. Nancy Tate, I believe, won her first election by, I think, about 6 votes overall, and that's Meade County and part of Radcliffe. That's important. So it's important that every vote gets out and counts. So here's the thing. The question is are we happy with our current governor? Now, I believe that he's the governor. The office of governor has been negated a little bit by the fact that we have supermajorities in the House and Senate here in Kentucky. But it also means that he has sued. He has sued the different offices throughout his tenure if he didn't get his way. And the thing is it says the Kentucky Constitution says that the legislature makes laws. They send them to the governor. The governor has the right to, he can sign it or he can veto it, or he can let it. He can let it go. And I can't remember what it's called, but there's if he lets it go in without vetoing it, it becomes law without him signing it, basically. But another way, when he vetoes it, the Constitution says that if it goes back, it can go back to the legislature, and the legislature then can vote on it. And if the supermajority votes to override the governor's veto, then it becomes law. So that's the rule. A lot of times the governor, he's vetoed many, many bills. He'll go out and tell you, I'm talking about Andy Beshear. He'll say that he has signed many, many bills, hundreds of bills. But the thing is that a lot of the ones that he's vetoed had certain appropriations for monies to go to certain places, and he didn't sign the legislation, but he went and handed out the check for it. And then said, "Oh, look what I got you." So that's how he's campaigning. He's going around again writing checks. He did the same thing for. He did the same thing when he's supporting his the down candidates down in the counties and things. He goes and hands out checks, and that's because the record of what he actually governs on, how he governs, is not a really good record. He doesn't. He doesn't work with the legislature. The legislature have told us over and over again that he doesn't even visit the legislature, doesn't talk to them. And so how can you even discuss, those things? But so why is that important? If it goes through anyway, why is it important? It's important because if the governor spends the time and the dollars to go sue over these bills that he vetoed and then were overridden, we can't really move forward. It takes time and effort and money and stops things, and you have to believe that's what you have to believe, at least in my mind, you have to believe that's what he's after when he's suing like that, because you have to think about how do you how do we work together, and it's a shame that these days, man, nobody works together anymore. It's been a very tough situation with the governor and the legislature, and the legislature is working strong. They've been they've had their own headbutting a little bit. The Republicans have as the supermajority. They are, learning to be a majority. And, for many, many, many decades, Kentucky was was driven in by the Democratic Party at all levels. It was very rare that you had. It was very rare that we had a Republican governor. I think we've only had a handful, 2 or 3, in all times. Let's see. I can think of 2 in the last 30 years, and then beyond that, I don't think there was a Republican since I've been alive. So unless it was when I was very, very young. And I'm sorry I didn't go look that up for you guys, but it's but you can go do that research. That's not important to what I'm trying to say. So what I'm trying to say is that because of this, the Republican Party has not, they've had to try to learn how to, how to work together within the party, even as a majority. And now that we've gotten, a lot of the low hanging fruit, as I call it, through the legislature over the last, 4 or 5 years, now they're learning how to work within each other when we don't always agree on everything. And believe it or not, no party agrees 100% with the party line. We just don't. When you're choosing to be a Republican or a Democrat, when you want to sign that paper that says that this is who you are, or these are the principles that you live by, and that's really what you're doing. You're saying these planks in the platform of each party, I'm looking at those and saying, okay, what are the things in that platform that represent me? And if 100% of them represent you, it would be a rarity, because there's a lot of things. They talk about people being on the spectrum for gender, which obviously there's only 2 genders, but that's another discussion for another day. But there really is I really do believe that there is a spectrum for your there's a spectrum for your politics, because you have your own experiences and your own your own experiences, your own principles, the way you were, the things that you've been taught by your parents or by teachers, and such, that you've come up with these things that are your principles. Now, I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe Jesus died on a cross for my sins, and He's wiped away those sins. And it's up to me to try to live a better life and live up to that sacrifice that He made. That's my belief. It's not my job to try to browbeat you into those same beliefs, but it is my job as a Christian to at least to introduce you to Jesus and what He's done for me. But beyond that, I come from a very, I would say, very humble background. My mother and father, we didn't have a lot of money growing up. There was 5 kids. We had many experiences. I've had, we were ultimately very happy as a family with very little. That was mostly because, my mom and dad, and my aunts and uncles and all of us, we had a lot of family, and we had a lot of friends, and we knew how to just hang out and do things, play cards, and we didn't drink a lot of alcohol and things, but we had a lot of good, what I would call good old clean fun. And so it didn't take a lot of money for us to have a good time, and that's how we kind of got through things. But those things made me who I am, those experiences. So now I look at things and say, okay, these are my principles. I have a very much a Judeo-Christian principle list, right? I mean, I look through things and I say, abortion is wrong. I feel bad for a mother that has to make, who's trying to make a decision, who feels that they have to make this decision to try to have an abortion or to abort a baby. I think that most of the time they're just misinformed. There are people who want to help them, but there's a lot of things that go into abortion, death penalty, Second Amendment rights. Those are all things that aren't necessarily tied to my Christian values, but they do. My Christian values do mold my thoughts and things about this. So, we really need to look at that and have more of an introspection, right, about who you are and what you believe in when you're making a decision on whether or not you're going to sign for a Republican or a Democrat to be to register for one of those things. And I think that's what we're seeing is we've seen for years when you and I'm kind of getting down this rabbit hole. I'm going to try to get out of it here because this is usually where Steve pulls me out. But so back to the main point here. So there's a spectrum. Not everybody's going to have. You can put 10 Republicans in a room. You can put 100 Republicans in a room, and 100 are going to have 100 different opinions on the Republican platform and why they're a Republican, and that's okay. It's a very good thing. And I would say you do the same thing on the Democratic side when you make that decision. And I think that I don't agree with it. I think that most people there's some things on the Democratic side of the platform that I just think that are just flat out wrong. They have the right language around it, saying, "Oh, well, don't you just feel for these people?" But yes, I do feel for these people. But giving people the giving to people over and over again is not helping them get out of where they are. We need to make it fair for all people to have every opportunity. You need to make it fair, and you need to make sure that people are taught the things that they need to be taught to be successful. Those are the things that you really have an opportunity, or that you have. That's where the equality comes in. You want to have the equal opportunity, equal access under the law to be able to do and raise your kids, to have a family, everything that you need to do, that you want to do in life. And so, if you look at it from the point of view of back to politics and the election, the people of Kentucky have become moved more and more and more to the Republican Party, and it's not a Donald Trump thing. It's people have woken up to, wow, this is not the Democratic Party is not the party that it was for my grandfather, and that's absolutely true. Most of our grandfathers who were Democrat and swore by being a Democrat would not be Democrat today. If I dare, if they were here and looking at what's going on, and that's a shame. It's a shame that the Democratic Party has moved that far to the left. And here's the thing, Andy Beshear is on the left. He's not a down the middle moderate Democrat. If he had his way, the Republican Party would not exist anymore. It would. That's where the Democrats are now. They don't want just to beat Republicans and win elections. They want to eliminate the ability for the Republican Party to even exist. And that, to me, that's just a wrong attitude to have. You should want the debate. You should want to be able to, have the iron sharpen iron. But that's not what we see today. That's not what we see out of the Democratic Party. I think you do still see that in the Republican Party. That's why the Republican Party doesn't like to go down the trail of just attacking through policy and things like that. Now you're starting to see it. Here we are. We got an impeachment inquiry coming up on Joe Biden. I'm not sure if it was time for it yet or not, but it's coming, and you knew it was coming. And I believe that I believe he is guilty of some things. I think he is guilty of helping his son collect money and taking money from his son and giving influence. I believe that's true. I don't have evidence that's true, and I don't know that we have all the evidence that we're going to have. We definitely haven't seen all the evidence yet. So I think it's coming. I think we're going to see evidence during this inquiry. But I don't think there's going to be that smoking gun. I don't think that you're going to see that. Aha, see, I told you. You're going to have to take and look at the circumstances and say, well, the preponderance of the evidence says that he's probably guilty, but that doesn't mean that he's legally guilty. You have to have the evidence. You have to be able to push the line of the evidentiary, the amount of evidence that you have. You have to be able to say that is that he is guilty. You have to be beyond a reasonable doubt. I mean, this is not a murder case by any means. At least I hope it's not. I think that it's I think it's absolutely a corruption case, and I think that we're going to find out that there's a lot of things that they have done. They've done a remarkable job of hiding it for 30, 40 years. And this is not just it happened last week. The reason that you don't see all the things that's been going on forever is, one, the laptop didn't go that far back, and two, a lot of that stuff is beyond the reach because the statute of limitations have gone by. So we have statute of limitations on for a reason. On a lot of these cases is because you can't just keep having, you could do something 30 years ago and be a totally different person now. And if, aside from murder or I think treason, you can't, those things, there's a limit to when they can go prosecute you for things. So, but definitely murder is one of those things that there is no statute of limitations. If you murder someone, you get caught down the road. It doesn't matter if it's 10, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, they can and will prosecute you. So, but anyway, so we are looking at, an election coming up on November 7th. It's going to, we have the Republican Party has got a straight, Class A ticket of people. Everyone on the list up and down is not just a good candidate. They're a great candidate. They've worked. Most of them have already been working hard for the Commonwealth in different capacities. You have Treasurer Allison Ball is now running for auditor. That's because our good friend Mike Harmon has term limited out, and so he will no longer be our and he ran for governor, so he's not on the ticket for anything at the moment. But I don't think that you'll see Mike just fade away. I think that you'll see Mike come back and work in some capacity. Mike has been a very good and loyal servant to the Commonwealth, and I think that you'll see him come back in some capacity and run again in the future. You have Mark Metcalf is running for treasurer, and I think he's going to be excellent. You have Russell Coleman running for Secretary of not Secretary of State. He's running for Attorney General, and I think Daniel Cameron did an excellent job, but I think Russell Coleman's is going to be able to hit the ground running and be a very, very strong replacement for Daniel. And and the good news is that when Daniel Cameron is governor, you're going to be able to have somebody that's going to work together with these other people, and not a governor who's going to be suing these different places, these different folks. Let's see, you have Jonathan Schell. He's running for agriculture commissioner, and again, I mean, there's no one more a farmer than Jonathan Shell is. I mean, he's excellent, and he works hard. You don't see him. You don't ever see him in a you don't ever see him in a suit. He's always out in a t-shirt and jeans, and he looks like he just came off it looks like he just hopped off his tractor. So, he's a man of few words, and just like he's more about effort and getting things done. And but by no means does that mean he's not a smart. He's not a. It's by no means does that mean he's. He doesn't know what's going on. He's a very smart individual, but he likes to let his effort and his work ethic speak more than just any old words. So, we have Michael Adams is running for his second term as Secretary of State. He's one of those that. He's one person that is probably the most controversial person in the race as far as the Republicans go, but that's mostly because we wanted so much to see us just push things back the other way, and really and truly you have to take and fight the battles. You got to look at the whole job, not just did he signed up for Eric? Well, yes, he signed up for Eric. Well, a lot of this stuff has come out that, Eric is for those who don't know, Eric is it's a multi-state database that helps you, that was intended to help you clean up your voter rolls and things. So by saying that if anybody that's an Eric, if somebody moves to a state that's also an Eric, and they show this person, registers to vote in that other state, say Ohio or Indiana or what have you, and they're in the database with Kentucky. If someone from Kentucky moves, goes into one of those states, they show up on there and it automatically says, "Hey, Kentucky, this person has changed their registration to this state. Go ahead and remove them." And it's a great idea, but I don't know that it's, it wasn't well. I don't think it was well executed. I think there was some problems with it, and a lot of states started dropping out of it. And Michael Adams took a lot of flack for not dropping out right away, and I believe that was mostly because he was trying to just make, he was trying to make a, he was just trying to. It was more like, hey, let's see if it works, if they work the bugs out and get it on path, but it didn't. So now it looks like Kentucky's going to pull out of that as well. Let's see. I mentioned Allison Ball, Russell Coleman. Missing one. Sorry. Obviously, Daniel Cameron is running for governor, but we've been talking about that most of the time so far. Let me see here. Who did I miss? Mark Metcalf, Michael Adams, Russell Coleman, Jonathan Shell, Allison Ball, Daniel Cameron. I think I got them all. If I missed one, I do apologize. I'm doing this without notes here. So, so that's kind of where we stand. It's important for us to go out and vote. We want to vote. I think that Daniel Cameron is going to be a great governor for us. I think that he has the charisma, he has the understanding of our politics, of what the people in the not just in the cities but in the rural areas. He really understands. I mean, he's, like I said, he is from this region. He's grew up and went to John Hardin, and I consider him local. I'm here in Meade County. I grew up in Meade County and raised my family here. All three of my boys have graduated from Meade County High School. I've got two grandchildren that are here in the area. One is in elementary school here, and then the other will probably be starting preschool or what have you in another year or so. And then our third we have two granddaughters and a grandson. Our youngest granddaughter is with her mom and dad live in Virginia, so that's where she's at. that always saddens her grandma and I. But you get, when you're adults, when you're an adult, you have to go do what you have to do. And I'm really proud that my sons, Matthew and Justin, served in the United States Navy, and Matthew is still there. So I'm really proud of them and the job that they do raising their families and their kids, providing and the job they're doing there. So let me just give them a shout out real quick. So the election's coming up November 7th. You really need everybody to go out and vote. Last time Matt Bevin lost, there was a lot of problems with trying to push Matt Bevin across the finish line because one, it was harder to get volunteers because there was so much going on in the news about things he said, and even though what was being said in the news wasn't necessarily what he said or was in the context that he said, there was still a lot of stuff out there that, it just turned a lot of people off, and that's unfortunate because I think that Matt Bevin did a really, really good job as our governor. He was trying to fix things, and sometimes when you're trying to fix things, it can be construed easily by the other side as, oh, you're trying to take away stuff. And in reality, you're trying to make sure stuff lasts longer. And it's and you can't just keep spending money down the same holes without filling them and trying to make sure that you're putting them in the right places so that more is generated, so that more is available for more people in a longer time. And that's where we're at today. So, so we got Monday night. So let me just go down a couple things here. Monday night is our regular scheduled Republican Party meeting. It's going to be at 2714 Brandenburg Road in Brandenburg. It's at Brandenburg Station. If you're leaving Brandenburg, if you're leaving town, going out 313. Technically, at this point, Brandenburg Road is 313. Was it 313, 448? Before you get to the railroad tracks at Brandenburg Station, we're in the house. We're in the little white house on the left-hand side there. So it's 2714 Brandenburg Road in Brandenburg, and it'll be 7:00. Come out and we need volunteers to come to door knock. We need volunteers to come out and make phone calls. We need people who will help us fundraise and put out signs. We need people who will help people get to the polls. But what the best thing we can do is go talk to our neighbors. Talk to your neighbors about voting, why it's important to vote. Make sure they're going to get out and vote. If they need help getting there, help them. Be a servant to your neighbors, and help them the best you can. So that's coming up on Monday. We're planning a few other events between now and the election, and we'll let you know about those. We'll also have our newspapers coming out on later this month, early October. We'll have 2 editions. We'll have one in October, one in late September, one in mid to late October. And once you'll see those in your mailbox. So we send them out to every house in Meade County. It goes out. We get them to we basically put them in the post office, and the post office puts them in. We use one of their services. We pay for one of their services to have them put it in every mailbox. So, but as soon as that's available, you'll see that in your mailbox. And we try to make that newspaper a real, an informative newspaper. We don't want it to be just a bunch of ads for our candidates. We want to teach about these. We want to teach people about what what the positions do. We want to teach people about what happens in politics and the rules and things that happen in the everyday elections. And if there's questions, we want to be able to answer those for people. So again, if you have any questions, you can give us a call to 270-945-3418. If you or you can just post here to our you can post right here to our stream and or to our Facebook page, the Meade Truth, or you can also go out to the Meade County Republican Party and post questions there, and we would love to put get an answer and put it out on the air for you, or answer you directly. So if so I think I'm going to wrap it up today. I wish that I had more content tonight. I had some other things I want to talk about, but I'm going to make sure that I have Steve here to kind of steer me and make sure that I don't go down rabbit holes. So if you all just appreciate you all coming in and listening, and we'll talk to you again next week. Thanks, and have a good night. Right.